Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I'm back, and we are. Oh, just 1 second. Let's make sure I'm on the right screen. It should be this one. Everything looks fine. All right. Oh, right. Just a bit loud music in my ears. Can barely hear myself. Hopefully, the music on stream though is fine. I lowered it ever so slightly before unmuting myself, so perhaps it's a bit too low. Make sure cell phone is on mute, or at least non-vibration, so I can't really hear it. Oh, actually, that would make it mute, wouldn't it? All of it, just mute everything. Right. It's been 2 days. Last time we finished World of Warcraft, or finished, there's no such thing as finishing World of Warcraft. We were playing Mr. Pandaria, and we got to level 90. And yeah, it was a good time. But now, let's raise the music ever so slightly. There we go. Today, we're back into more game development side, and I want to try something. I think one thing that might be missing on YouTube, or in general, is a series showing like optimization tips and tricks. There are optimization out there, like I've seen videos of it, but more like serious. Hey, let's look at this asset. Let's see if we can optimize it. And by optimization, I by no means mean that the asset is poor in quality. It's more like, hey, what if someone gives you this asset? Let's say your boss or you yourself decides on, I need this asset, this very asset in my game. It's slightly high on poly count. It uses more than one material, for example, and that's not necessary. Like all of these requirements you have specifically for your project. And not all assets fulfill those requirements. Each project will have a slightly different requirement, right? Makes sense. So this is me trying to say, hey, here's a few tips. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you have an asset you absolutely love, unfortunately, it doesn't fit in with the requirements of your current game project. So what can you do to perhaps lower the poly count, combine textures, and minimize the number of materials used in a reel, and so on and so on. And also creating LODs. The one we're going to look at today, as far as I can tell, doesn't have LODs, so we're going to change that. And just, yeah, it keeps going. There's a lot of things you can do, and not, like I mentioned, I'm going to say this a few times throughout the stream, and depending how long we go with this series. None of these assets I will be showing bad. That's my goal. I'm not going to show you an asset that I find absolutely horrendous or something like that. No. I'm going to show you assets that are great in quality, but we're going to imagine they don't fit our, like this imaginary project we're working on. That's the goal. We're just going to look at assets that we can change and see if we can do things that will lower the number of polygons and so on. So that is the goal. And with that said, I think we can just get into it. So let's start with looking at the assets I personally picked for this session. And to do that, give me 1 second, make sure everything is top notch on the streaming side. I would hate if this didn't show up correctly, because I do plan on adding this to YouTube. Well, I am already adding it to YouTube, but a bit more than that eventually. Looks fine. So I am going to hop over to the main scene, which gives us this. I'm going to see if I can keep it in center for the vertical stream. So what we're looking at is this microphone from a set I found on Fab. Let's see if we can actually look at that Fab page. think that could be a good thing. It was a free asset. And let's see if I can find it. Let's see, I need to go to 3D, to go to price, be free. Let's see if I can't find it, because there's a lot of good assets online on the marketplace. So highly recommend just go through it. I found a sound pack for my horror games, which I'm still planning on doing. It's just a lot of other things popping up that I need to prioritize. I feel like I should prioritize. I should formulate that is what I'm trying to say, at least. Should be here somewhere. There are not that many sets that I was looking at. Did I miss it? Probably did miss it, right? Oh, there we go. So the asset we're looking at is called EverkindleStudio by a Warren Marshall. All right, so 1 second, I should be able to do this. Unfortunately, it doesn't really show up on the vertical, does it? Perhaps what if we do this? Can I do this? Might help. There we go. Oh, now I need to find it again, don't I? There we go. Okay, so kind of hard to see me, but I'm right here on vertical side. So you can see this product. So it's called EverkindleStudio. Has a lot of great assets in it. And it's not, again, I mentioned this before. These are not bad assets. They are really good. They're high quality, good textures and everything like that. The thing is, I'm thinking, what if we need to lower the quality? Or not the quality, the polygon count. So I looked at one asset, which would be the microphone used. So we're going to this side. And instead of Blender, which we are at right now, we're going to go back to this one. So look at this. Again, great asset. But what if we needed less triangle count, right? And again, vertical side, you're not going to see this, but up in the left corner, we can see in Unreal, in the static mesh editor, we can see that this asset, let's zoom in on it, by the way. There we go. Something like this, perfect. Has 3008 triangles, which is something like this. I wouldn't say a high number. It could probably go down to 2.5, 2000 if you really tried. Again, it all depends on the requirements of your project and the specs you're aiming for. There's a lot of things to go into this, and it's not really one rule for everything or half a dozen rules for everything. It depends, which is often a hated word, because you really want the, hey, I want one rule or one answer to all my questions going forward. Just give me that. There's no such thing. We're looking at 3,000 triangles, roughly. Vertices, about 2,000. And UV channels, we have 2 on this one, which tells me we are looking at probably the main UV set 0, which is the textures, that handles all the textures, right? But then we have likely another one for light mapping, which is, I'm not going to say an old technique. It's been used for many years, though, where when you didn't have dynamic lighting that updates per frame, you baked light information into a texture, which was a lot easier on your computer, because you just had to download a texture and just look at it. Oh, this is what the light should look like, rather than each frame trying to figure out where is everything in my scene relative to the lights. So yeah, we are looking at this asset, and we can go down and see that okay, let's look at this. So it does have one LOD, which is common. That is the first LOD. That is the highest one, the one that looks the best. We can't really tell. It doesn't have more than that. That's all the LODs it has. So we're going to look at adding more LODs. We could try doing it inside Unreal. I personally would love to do it in Blender first. That's my goal. And then we can look at some other point, looking at how we can do it in Unreal. And there's ups and downs doing this. Unreal has a lot of great procedural automatic systems, but I think it's good to know how to do it in Blender or in any other 3D software. And we can also look at, does it have light map? Let's see if we can search for light map. No, it doesn't have a light map generated by Unreal. So chances are this is something the 3D artist did. So this is what the texture style looks like. There are some open space, and that could be one of two things, maybe third or fourth, but I'm thinking we are either sharing a texture between 1 or 2 assets, or maybe 3 assets. So this space we see right here could be for another asset, which could be you saving texture memory, which is a good thing. But we could optimize this and have it placed throughout the entire area. That's an option. And what is the other? Oh, we're not going to remove it, but that will be a problem. We can look at this. Here we can see it's evenly spaced, uniformly spaced out through the entire area, which means we are looking at the light map UVs. That is my guess. This is perfectly fine. I would perhaps increase the spacing between. It wouldn't have bleeding. Again, this could very likely work well for whatever this asset will be used for. Let's remove that. And we also saw there's no nanite. Again, it's all up to you if you want to try nanite. I've noticed, by the way, just a short sidetrack, recompute normals. I've had issues when this is ticked or enabled when I import assets from Blender into Unreal. The UVs are often, I'm going to use the word destroyed. I can't really think of anything else. From looking great in Blender, going into Unreal, then look a lot worse. So if that happens to you, you might want to try and just disable the enabled recompute normals. Just disable that. LOD distance, we are going to look at that, but right now we don't really have to care about it because we only have one LOD. And you can, one way to tell, other than going into this setting right there, is to zoom out. And at some point, this number, again, vertical, you can't see it, but it's on the left corner. There's a small stats information window. It should say LOD 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and so on. And if you didn't know this, when it comes to LODs, which stands for level of detail, the LOD 0 will be the highest level. LOD 1 will be the second highest, and LOD 2 will be the third highest, and so on and so on. And the golden rule, often used, that each LOD should have 50% less triangles. So if the first one in this case has 3,000, next one would have 1,500, 750, 375, and so on. And at 375, we probably could stop. Or we can make the fourth LOD that has like 16, because that would be from this distance likely. And if you're looking at the asset from this distance, not many people can see more than maybe cube and cylinder at most. There's so little information on screen that for us humans, we can't really tell. So at this point from this stage, we could probably get away with like a black 5-segmented cylinder, which gives us 10 or 12 vertices. Right. So what we're going to do next, I think, well, also we can look at collisions at some point. That is performance, that has an important performance impact, but it all, again, depends on the situation. How hard it hits your performance will vary. But what we're going to do is we're going to select our asset in level. I'm going to press Control B, which will send us over to the folder, Unreal, that has that asset in it. I'm going to right click. I'm going to use the asset action export. And a window should pop up, and it does for me, but I'm going to have it on my left monitor. And I'm going to have to figure out where I want to put this. You know what? Just create a new one. do it this way, and I'm going to create inside that folder, create a folder I'm going to call export, which is everything from Unreal. And I'm not going to rename it or anything like that. It's just going to keep the same name. There we go. And from here, we're going to go into Blender, new scene. I'm going to use my add-on to do an import. And we are going to there we go, import this one. And as you can see, we also imported our colliders, which is why it looks horrendous, right? So first of all, we don't need the colliders. We're going to delete those. We're also going to do a few other things because there's information that is passed along from Unreal into Blender. So I'm going to go to the Data tab, Geometry tab, and Clear Custom Normals. There we go. And we're also going to go to Materials, and I'm going to save this for now. I'm thinking we don't need it in the end. But for now, we're going to use a default material. Not sure why, but sorry if I'm scratching my nose the entire time, but for some reason it's really itchy. I don't know why. All right, so next step, we're going to look at the wireframe. And from Unreal, we're always going to get a triangulated mesh. That's always going to happen. And the reason why, or likely why, is when you import something to Unreal, it automatically triangulates your assets, which is also why you should triangulate an asset before you send it to Unreal. Big reason is your shading will look better, assuming you have the recompute normals off, when you triangulate it from Blender or 3ds Max into Unreal. There are moments when that could be disrupted, the look of your shaders. So I would recommend just adding like a triangulated mesh, or in your export window, you can also select, where is it, geometry, and triangulate faces. Always have that on. All right. So this is our asset. And let's also add a window. I think is this one? Yes. Statistics. We can see what we're looking at. Again, 3,000 triangles, edges, 4,500 vertices, and so on. Perfect. So it's all in there. Anything else we should look at? Materials. No, I think we're fine. One thing we could do, so let's go back to Unreal. We could, let's see, what is it? It should be just go to textures. No, let's do it this way. I'm going to Alt-Shift-R, which is a reference viewer. So we're going to double click this one. And I'm looking at the material instance of the mesh. And here we have our textures, which is ID. That's interesting. And normal and diffuse. And I'm curious. Let's have a look at the master material. What's going on here? Something interesting is going on. The ID is roughness, ambient, occlusion, metallic. That makes sense. I also have normals, which is, of course, input in normals. From base color, and we're tinting. I guess that's fair. What is this? Masks. That's curious. Interesting. All right. And let's also have a look at material instance. The roughness hasn't really, I haven't really sorted this in a way I'd like, but that doesn't really matter. Desk fill material. I'm not sure what that means in this case. Microphone. So we're going to look for these three. See if we can use that in Blender to add back our textures. So what we need to do go to this. I'm going to open. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to, again, Control B should, I say, send us to the content folder. And that is a lot. But there's desk, microphone. All right, perfect. Let's export. You know what? Let's add them to the same folder. We're not going to fill this with 1,000 folders or assets. And if we are, we're going to fix that at some point. What we're going to do is click save a few times. And we're going to go into that folder. I am actually, when I said that out loud, I realized, yeah, no, you know what? I should absolutely keep this organized. You never know. So in export, I'm going to add a new folder called desk microphone 02. And let's move all of the export assets into that one. There we go. So I would have something like this. All the asset in one folder. Perfect. So from here, we're going to, let's create a new material. I want to save that default one. So let's create a new one. Let's call this desk micro phone. Let's actually go all the way with the O2. So we know if we're going to add more asset to this and it happens to be a microphone again, then we know. All right. Shading. Zoom in. We are going to, in my folder, copy the path, paste it in. Perfect. I'm going to add this. I'm going to add this and this. Let's start with base color. Add that to this folder. I'm also going to add snapping because I like the feeling of it. All right. So first look that everything's in place. It's white, mostly due to, I believe, we haven't added the metallic yet. Let's do that next. Add this underneath. We are, let's see if I can remember correctly. I believe it's called separate. Ooh, it's been a while since I did this. What is it called? Separate by color, I believe it is. Now we have access to each color space or each channel. So I'll set this to non-color. I believe that is the right. We could change that back. It doesn't look right. I'm also going to go back to Unreal. Double check. So red is roughness. Metallic. RMO. Okay, that makes sense. So let's connect roughness, metallic. No. No, oh, there you go. You just had to think. And we don't have occlusion. We're going to ignore that. Is there anything else they did? They add stuff, but we're not going to do that. And also they should probably add a saturate afterwards, but irrelevant for this. Honestly. Well, let's check at the normals. This we need to change from sRGB to non-color. Otherwise, it's just going to look wrong. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, we have a few other things we need to do. Can't really push this straight into... No. All right. Let's disconnect. We're going to create a curve. It's been a while. Color curve. Why we're doing this is because we're going to invert the green channel. So we're going to select that and somehow drag this up and down, which will invert the values of the green channel. And the reason we're doing this, just 1 second. The reason is if you're using DirectX or OpenGL, I call this color space. I'm gonna get a lot of comments on that one. The point is that if you're in, for example, Unity uses OpenGL for their normals, which is the green channel is calculated in a specific way. And Unreal has inverted that. They're using DirectX. So if we are grabbing a texture from Unreal and sending it into another software, such as Blender, which I do believe uses OpenGL, then you need to make sure you account for that by inverting the green channel. Next, I believe we're going to do a normal map, I believe. Yes, but this needs to be in color. And you can just disconnect and move a connection like this by holding down control. You can move back and forth. This will be passed into normal. Now it should look, I think this looks proper, as if it's directly in Unreal, I think. Yeah. So your material should look something like this, where you have, again, will differ depending on your asset. But if you have base color and nothing else in it, like anything in the alpha, you just put the base color straight in. Using a separate color node for the ID, it can also be named seen MISC, as in miscellaneous. I've seen shortenings, such as if you go to Megasense assets, they usually use the acronym NOM, which stands for normal, occlusion, metallic. It's very common. And there's others. There's ORM, which is occlusion, roughness, metallic. There's a variation of them. So this one will help you gain access to the channels of the texture. And also make sure it's set to non-color. And we could try sRGB. That doesn't look correct. So let's move it back to non-color. Yeah. So we're not using the sRGB space for masks or value-driven textures or for normals, only base color. All right. Let's go back to modeling. Let's check the asset in material preview. All right, looks great. Oh, sorry about that. It's clicked. All right. So I do believe we have prepared the scene. I'm just going to double check. That's good. Let's save these. We're not going to do anything with these because we might actually do something bad, which we're not going to do. And we need the UV map for now. I do think in the end, we're not going to show what this is. Let's see if that is not the, there's another microphone. What if I do this? There is this microphone. So if we look at the UVs, oh, there you go. They are sharing a texture, which is a really good approach. If you don't have to use, sorry, I'm going back and forth. If you don't have to use two textures, you can share one texture for like more than one asset. That's really good. Less memory space needed to store and save these assets. Again, I said this before when we started. This is not bad assets in any way. It's more of a, let's imagine we needed something else, but we love the look of a asset. So what will we do to change that to fit a requirement that is different than what this asset is made for? All right, so what we're not going to do in Blender is do anything with the UVs. I don't think we need to. But if there's an interest to it, and I might have to, or I might in future do a different stream where I can show you how to transfer textures to a new asset that has new set of UVs. Because if you're going to change UVs now, you can't use your texture as is. You need to do a few steps, like transferring texture values from one asset to a new one. It's not super difficult. It's more time consuming than anything, but it could be necessary depending on your requirements. All right, so from here, we are going to use a shortcut in Blender to go from triangles to quads. And that is holding out Alt and J while in edit mode and selecting the entire asset. And that is automatically just going to quickly move all of these assets into a quad. Not perfectly. There's a few things we need to fix, but it looks, I mean, compared to what we would have to do by yourself, this is a really good approach. Let's look again. Static is gone. So we are still at 30,000. Fair enough, because we haven't really touched anything. So what can we do? Well, first you need to make a decision. And again, this might be on your table, like you need to make this decision, or there's someone else who made it for like a tech dev or like your technical lead for your project. And they're telling you, I need this to go down to a certain number of triangles, or we are not going to look at this asset closer than, let's say, 2 meters away. Again, it depends, but let's assume we're not going to get that close to this asset, or we have a third-person perspective, which means we are likely not going to be closer to an object more than this, right? Okay, so from this distance, how can we reduce the number of triangles, still have the asset look good? In order to do that, let's first save the original. Let's do a original assets. I'm going to also show this selectable option and disable viewports, which means that I can now make it non-selectable, and I can hide it in a way that if I use my Shift H or Alt H, it's not going to show again unless I actually go in and click that viewport button. On vertical sides, I'm sorry, but this isn't showing for you guys. So if you're curious, please go to YouTube or Twitch. I'll YouTube horizontal full screen, and I'll have everything is on screen. So we have the original, so let's hide that and unhide the copy. We're going to create the first LOD, which is LOD 0, and I'm going to aim for half we have, but still keep it close to the original. So we can look at first, I think we can look at top. No, sorry, we're going to need to do this first. And that is, let's go to UV editing. And I have this horrendous texture. So let's, you know, there's a way to, okay, so let's click this X, which will remove textures completely. We could still add back texture if we want to, but now it's just our colors, our UV space. And I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to press N, which opens up our toolbox options. So I have a tool called Text Tools. I'm also going to select this UV sync selection, which now syncs my selection from my viewport and my UV space. Otherwise, if I don't have that on, I select this island and I go to my UV space, I can now see that, oh, viewport space, sorry. I can't really tell what I've selected. If I, on the other hand, select this and then select this option, now I can see which UV island belongs to the corresponding side on the mesh side. That makes sense. Right. All right, we are going to figure out where our UV seams are. I'm going to go to edge space or edge edit viewport. And then go to UV layout in an add-on called Text Tools. I can highly recommend looking up that add-on. It's great for a lot of things, such as moving assets in a specific direction, making sure it fits within the UV space. There's a lot of options that I can highly recommend. And I do believe this one has something called bounds, which now selects the outer edge of each UV island. I can then go to right click or Control E, which then gives me an edge option. And I can either select mark seams or clear seams. I'm going to select mark seams. And in my viewport, and in, let's go to edge, I can now see these red lines. And if you're a regular Blender user, you know that red lines equals UV seams. So these are the edges of my UVs. And they are really important because I can't remove any of these edge lines. If I do, we're having trouble because that would destroy our UV islands. So that is important to never touch those unless you are actually making a new asset. That's the only time you can do it. And I'm noticing we have ads in roughly 10 seconds. So I'm just going to do a save. Let's see. What's it called again? It's called desk microphone. And it's 02. So we're not going to do any more progress during ads on Twitch side. So we're going to wait for at least about a minute and a half. Once we're back again, we're going to start removing UVs. Oh, sorry. Geometry, we're going to lower it down. Did say UVs, didn't I? Oh, wrong button again. There we go. Okay. Hands off. Well, this is a weird thing that Twitch is doing. Okay, so now the ad starts. Awesome. Which means that the past minute or so, we didn't actually have ads. And that's, I'm thinking that it's not on my side, honestly. So what I've done on Twitch is that I've checkboxed a option for a Twitch to tell me, hey, we got ads soon, like in a minute. And then I have another message pop up when ads are actually playing that says, well, you got a minute and 25 seconds left. So on. I also have Streaming Bot. And if you don't know what Streaming Bot is, it's a way for a streamer to automate to have things happen automatically on your stream. And in this case, I'm telling StreamBot to, hey, send a message into chat, which is what you saw when there's a minute left. That is when Twitch tells you, hey, now you have a minute. StreamBot also follows that and tell you, in a minute, we'll have ads. And then does another one, like 5 seconds before we should have ads, telling everyone, hey, now is a good time to go up, stretch, and so on. You can see the message in chat. But I've noticed this might be something that has been going on forever or just recently. It takes roughly 53 seconds, give or take a few seconds, for the ads once that minute warning has run out to actually start, which means that 1 minute is actually 1 minute and 53 something seconds, which is weird. And then when that is over, we have 2 minutes of ads. So what should be 3 minutes, now all of a sudden, almost 4 minutes of ad break, or from notification to finished ad. Instead of 3 minutes, it's 4 minutes. So that doesn't make sense. But when it's done, it works perfectly. All right. Either way, so we're back from ads. If you're curious about what ads does on Twitch. All right. So I'm just going to leave the edit modeling page, and we're going to go back to the modeling layout. And this color will be it will be a distraction. Sorry. I'm going to move into solid, and you can do this quickly by pressing Z and then select in the pie chart or in pie menu where you want to go. I'm also going into, and I have an add-on for this, which is Alt V. The add-on is called Or is it, which one is it again? I think it's either, let me check that. Because I highly recommend trying this add-on. And let's see, add-ons. I do believe this is machine tools. And just try that out. So if I turn that off. Yes, it's machine tools. All right. Sorry, one more second. I'm just going to go. Okay, so that might be hard ops. I never remember what these does. But either way, I highly recommend trying machine tools. Is it gone? Oh, enabled only. Scared me for a second there. It's a hard ops. Just give me a bit of a second because I do want to say it is hard ops. It allows you to quickly gain access to wireframe and face orientation, which are two important settings you kind of need to keep track of. So wireframe, you can add that, or you can go into this menu. I believe it's this menu, isn't it? Or is it this menu? Oh, it's the viewport overlays, right? And you can check wireframe. That's one way to do it. But either way, let's see. Where are we? So the first thing I notice is this line goes around the main cylinder. It doesn't do anything for us. It doesn't add anything to the profile or the length, anything. So we could just delete that, and Control X is a quick dissolve of an edge. Another option we have is this one, and holding that Alt click in a loop will select the entire thing. Also, doesn't really add anything apart from a very slight change in direction. Not important for us. We can leave that. We can delete that without any issues at all. And you might have noticed something happened with the shading. It became dark, and that we can fix that by selecting this edge, and that is a hard edge, which is something along the lines of the change between this plane and the next plane or face, whatever makes sense to you, is more than roughly 60 degrees, give or take, or it could be 9 degrees. Often, I believe it's more referred to when you have a 90-something degree change. We often call that a hard edge. But in this case, we're going to do Control E and select Arc Sharp. And now you can see we back to proper shading again. So we've already saved 60 something polygons. What else can we do? Let's see what's under here. What's going on? That is a no-go. We're not going to touch that. See if we can find any other quick wins. I'm thinking this line and this line could probably be fixed. We could probably have a straight line. Again, from this distance, you're not going to see much of a difference. Well, I can't really select this entire thing using the Alt click trick, and that is there's triangles right here. And these triangles cost more than you think. Let's see, what if I do this? I'm going to go all the way around using Control click this time, which is, it's just going to find the quickest path between the last selected and this new selected point. So this is 32 vertices. You see up in the corner. Cylinders are is very famous in 3D modeling as culprits when it comes to high poly counts. If you want a nice looking cylinder, it costs you up to like 32, 48, 64 vertices per loop. And that would mean a cylinder would have 2 loops on each top. So that would be 120 something. It becomes more expensive as you go. So imagine you having 10 to maybe 20 cylinders on a mesh, which could be something realistic. Like a robot would have a lot of cylinders going on. Then all of a sudden, those 10 or 20 will be thousands polygons. So it's important to keep track of. So we had 32. We can get down to 16, which is this cylinder, 16. we can half this loop. I'm not sure why they decided to keep this 32, considering they didn't do the same for the other side. But it does give a cleaner curve on your cylinder. So what we can do now is we're going to select this between the two triangles. I'm going to select the opposite, but hold down shift, or sorry, the second after that. My point is this triangle and the triangle next to it. That makes sense. Then I'm going to hold down Control Shift and plus. I'm going to press plus. This just selects in the same pattern that you did, and I skipped one edge. And now what we're going to do is press M and then collapse. And now we have, well, 16 that goes around. And we can see that this now is selectable because we don't have those triangles. And we're also going to do the same for the inside. We don't have to worry about collapsing UV lines. We can't remove UV edges, but collapsing is perfectly fine. So let's do the same trick again. Select one, skip an edge, select the other, Control Shift plus. And we can hold in plus if we want to, and just wait until it's finally done. Press M, collapse. Looks great. Select this line, delete it. This is another 90-degree angle, so we're going to make it sharp. So now we have saved 160 something triangles. Might not sound like a lot, but we've only focused on a small area and not even the worst culprit when it comes to poly count. You can see this screw over here. That's probably double what we need. We have up here. We're going to save more as we go along. Same process down here. Unfortunately, it looks like we're on a slightly weird angle. So you can see it's not perfectly in line, but I think we're still on an even poly count, or yes, it looks like it's still even. So let's see if I can select this entire thing. Can I do that without issues? Should be able to, if I do that, sorry, select loop, edge loop, no. There is a way to do it. Loop ring, no, all right. Let's do the more manual approach then, which is control closest. All right, so this is 16. I assume this is 16. I'm not going to select that. But we can still do the same for this as we did before. Select pattern, Control Shift plus. No, that didn't work this time. And why is that? There we go. Collapse. Delete this again. Not giving us much in the way of profile. Considering we're going to look from this distance, we could, just to show how big the difference is, by bringing back the original, with that slide to the side, make it unselectable again, and turn off wireframe. So yes, there is a shading difference, but look at the profile. That is the most important part right now. Profile is, from my personal experience or viewport view of it, is the same. And that's what we want to do. We want to remove as much as possible, but still keeping that original look. Let's hide you. We can also go back to material again, just confirming that we didn't destroy any UVs. And as far as I can tell, we're golden. One thing to keep in mind is, so if we go to UV mode again, sure, is when you remove, so one reason the edge that we saw at the top and at the bottom could have been there is to preserve and not warp the UVs. Because if I move, for example, this, I'm adding an edge and now I move this around, you know, see that warps the texture. We don't want that. And adding these loops can help balance out that warping. Sorry. But we seem to be fine. And that's likely due to this UV island being as simple as it is. And that's a good thing. I can highly recommend in the future, we're not going to do this for this one because that would just break everything. And that is to use, we're just going to save. So if you have the text tool installed and you haven't really, you're creating your own mesh and you're reaching this point where you have a cylinder, a perfect cylinder in this case, no verping or extra details on it. It's just a cylinder. And you have this type of UV. I highly recommend this off to use something called rectify. I believe it's rectify at least. Oh, there you go. Rectify, what that does, it's just makes everything straight like this. And the reason I recommend doing it that way is those loops that I mentioned that could help you with warping, they are not as necessary anymore. They're likely not necessary at all if you do this. So I can highly recommend just trying that out if you're making your own model. But in this case, we're not touching it. It needs to be what it is. All right, and let's go back to solid and back wireframe. What else can we do? So I'd like this to continue. What is the number? I need to double check. If this is 32, we are golden. We can just do this exact same thing we just did. It's 16. I assume these are also 16. Keeping track of the number is important. Okay, so we have 16, 16. Which means we don't really have to do anything other than what we can do just to make things look less. Triangles just makes things hard to tell what's going on often. What we could do, this is not going to save any triangle counts in the long run. We could leave it if you wanted to. If you really want to, I'm just going to make sure I'm selecting the right one. We do that. So pressing L allows you to do a very quick selection of things, but we're going to select the seam. Now I'm only selecting the asset that has that very seam, which is the UV island, so we can look down here. All right, I forgot about that. What we're looking at now, this big gap happened because we did that collapse thing. We're going to have to save this texture, or this UV, and that is simple enough. So, before we do anything else, we're going to have to clean this up. What you would do is you're going to select, I think we don't want to be in sync mode though. Try that out. Anything happen? Remove the texture ever so slightly. I don't think that's a problem. No, that's not a problem. So you're going to select either in sync mode, which I have active right now. Or if you don't have that active, you just have to select these individually. Then you're going to press M and just do the center, which means they are equally going to move equally as much towards each other. And that should save your texture. Let's just keep doing this until we get all the way around. I'm just going to activate the sync again, because that allowed me to be a bit quicker. And you can do repeating the last process by doing Shift R. Oh, right. That's why you shouldn't have sync on. The sync selects all vertices that are connected to that point. In this case, we have, where are you? So this very vertices is divided in 4 UV vertices, which does make sense if you know why it's happening. But in this case, we're just going to ignore that explanation, deselect the sync option, and just do this as before. Let's just save the UVs first. Now we can activate, because that was the outer shell of the UVs. Let's just do that too. As long as it's on the inside, we should be fine. Let's activate sync again. Select this one, do center. bit tedious, but it's important. And before we do anything after this, we're going to have to confirm that nothing on the mesh is broken. So I'm going to be careful with the borders. That is really important. So let's do, oh, sorry, let's have the sync on. Do that, move. Let's see. What is this looking like? So there's some slight issues right there. Let's see where there's at. That is these parts, okay? So what could that mean for us? I'm not particularly worried about this part though. That is, first of all, it's underneath, very small, never going to be seen by the player. But if you really want to fix it, try this. Go to this UV island, select, or I have that selected apparently. No, I don't need to do that. What's going on? There we go. So we can select the entire thing. You can move this one around a bit, see if that helps. Ever so slightly. Yeah, that looks great. So far, so good. Again, zoom out. Always zoom out. Don't look at details up close. Always move back. Because it helps you realize that those small details, the millimeters, doesn't really matter. Right, back to this. We had an issue up here. Same process. Not sync on. Like these. Center. Nope, don't select all of them. There we go. That should confirm and turn sync on and off to see where I'm at. That's this part. Okay. Turn that off again. Let's go to modeling. Go into material view. Waveform off. Check. Are there any distortions? That looks obviously off. No, we seem to be fine. Back to, no, we're going to skip the UV editing window. It's going to be in the way. So edge, solid. And we're looking at this part now. So it may look horrendously off, like as if this would be fewer going around like that than these, but it's exactly the same. They've just been offset. And you could, if you wanted to, double click when you have one vertices selected, double click on the G button. That would just allow you to slide things like this. I'm not going to worry about that. It's just a slight offset, and it could actually destroy. We could actually affect the UVs if we try moving these around. Highly unlikely, but I'm going to accept the mess and just do this instead. No, perhaps, yes, I can. Okay. And what we're doing now is just removing an extra other than that one. So let's swap to this part instead. Okay, delete that. So now you can see it's perfect quads all the way around. It's just offset. We're not going to move it, so because we have a UV seam that we don't want to touch. We're now down to 2,784 triangles. We'll have a lot to go, but within like 20, 30 minutes, we've done a decent amount. So, yep. We have the same as before. So we're going to do the trick of selecting every other and do a collapse. And before we move on, let's select this one. UV editing. You can find it. And as before, I'm going to select these. Collapse. Right. For now, we're only looking at what I would call easy optimizations. What about this? So here's a trickier decision. Removing this would save 16 verts. Might be worth it, right? 16 is quite a lot considering you have to remove a fair bit in 16, although not the biggest number you'll ever see, but it's still a decent amount. If you zoom out, this edge doesn't really affect the profile that much. I can't really tell. Looking at the side, like we could probably see more if we do it this way. Do it this way. Let's do it. What if I do? Okay. No, you can't really tell what this edge affects. The silhouette is still there. This thing, it doesn't really affect it, right? That's what I'm trying to say at least. Let's move back to, let's actually select the matte cap. I want to select another one. Do it with this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete it fully and then zoom back. We can add back the original so we can see comparison. Yes, there is a comparison. There is a difference. But is it worth those extra 16 vertices? I think not. My personal view, it's not worth it. So we're going to keep them away, and we're down to almost 2,700. Let's check what else we can do. This one is, where are you? I'm going to use the sync again. See, where are you? It's all in the corner. Tell me it's a minor detail because it's a very small UV space. So what we could potentially do, and I assume this is also 16 all the way around. Let's see, where is my statistics? Currently unavailable in UV mode. All right, so let's go back to the modeling mode. So it's 16, fair enough. That was kind of obvious. But do we need 16? Can we make it 8? I think we can. So I'm just going to save. And I'm going to select this, and every other. Same as before. I'm going to do a collapse. And before we do anything else, go to UVs. Check this one. We're going to do the same as before. Remove sync option because it's the outer border. We're going to do a center, collapse these together. And before moving on, make sure that we have, go to base color, see what that looks like. All right, so there's no obvious bleeding from one color into the like the inside of the UV, so it still looks like it's black. There's no, like, nothing sticks out inside. We're fine. So again, this might not be an option for all cases, but in this case, it was a very easy decision. You can see it's all black. We're fine. And again, we can compare it to the original. Go to modeling, viewport material. Yes, from this angle, you can see a difference. You can see there's a slight sharpness to the other one, but it's pointing downwards. Really high chance that you're never going to see it. So I think it's not worth your time to keep that, but it's worth your time to remove some of those edges. So we're going to keep doing that. I'm going to select these, which is, it's hard to tell. So you know what? We're going to clean up the flat surface like this. And if you press C, you'll get this brush type of thing, which could help you just select things. And the wheel button will deselect. And right click will disable the tool. And then you can press Control X again, clean that surface up. Now it's easier to work with. I'm going to collapse. Go back to UV editing. You know the process by now. we go. Back to modeling. So this looks nice. Not going to worry about the shading. I think that is fine. We can also double check what the shading looks like on this one. So yeah, so shading wise, there's a difference, a noticeable difference. But that is not what we're concerned with. We're concerned with the material viewport, or what it looks like in this viewport, or with this material on. And yeah, I can't really tell the big difference from this angle, so we're fine. Install it, and I'm going to have some water. Let's see what our next step is. Like, honestly, let's try one more thing. So I'm going to save. So this ring right here, I'm willing to at least try out the idea that I don't need those edges. So let's see if we can't at least try that out. If we do this and go back to material. Okay, so that looks terrible, but that might also be because we also played around with the UVs by doing that. So let's see if we can't find the UVs. They are down here. And is it this one? Yes, so let's collapse these together. And we're going to turn off sync because now we're going for these. Let's actually, before we do that, let's just double check which one these are. They are the ones towards the center. All right, so these are towards that center. Perfect. Do that. Yeah, no longer in sync mode. This might not be what we want. We're going to have to confirm it. So modeling or in the right mode. All right, so in this case, yeah, that's not going to work because I do not like this new hexagonal or octagonal look. So I'm just going to, oh no, I did save. That was not what I wanted to do. Oh, God damn it. That's not what I wanted to do. Gone. Kind of destroyed it for myself. Can I go further back? How would I save this? How would I save this? Let's try it this way. Copy, put you in the center, do this. Going to select this part. And let's deselect everything else, or rather invert selection. You can delete these faces. This part you kind of ignore. I'm just trying to save my own mistake. And then what we'll do that's not going to be enough, is it? I need to all right. Give me a second. All right, I guess this is one way to show what I would do in this case, if I do this mistake again. That is kind of trying to figure out how to kind of do kit bashing, I guess. All right. Next, I guess I would do this. This is a terrible way of doing it, but I think it's going to work. Yeah, most likely to turn off this. Do last. We can save the UVs also. That's important. Probably a way to do this that is less cumbersome, but I feel like this is a way to, for me at least, to do this properly. Right, then we don't need this one. And this all the way around. Okay, I forgot to order this, nope. That. Collapse. By distance, I connected 8. All right, so let's check the UVs. So first thing is these. Hello, Green Coke. Who made this? Right, that's a good question. So if you go to the marketplace, feel weird having to optimize this. So what I'm doing right now is I'm looking at assets that perfectly feel like they're more than fine enough. I'm imagining myself in a scenario where, what if I have to optimize these? Then this is what I would do. And it's roughly on the higher level in terms of triangles, what I'm used to, but it's honestly a quite decent asset. You just need to find it. Let's go to free. I believe his name was William. And his assets are honestly quite good. Here we go. So if you're curious, it's this asset pack right here, EverkindleStudio. Roughly 3,000, I believe, for this particular mic. Might be on the higher end, but it looks great. I personally think it looks great. You can see it in Unreal. So yeah, I'm just imagining myself, what if I had to be in this scenario, what would I do? Kind of thing. Just sharing my experiences as a 3D modeler who had to do this for a few assets we bought or a company I worked for. Let's see, center. You find a free hexagon crystal model the other day. It had 500,000 converters. I've seen assets that, yeah, I'm not sure why people are doing that, why they upload that level, but it could be for, I guess, movies, perhaps. It is on the high side, isn't it? It is on the high side. Did you had to optimize it, or was it just like one of these, you know what, I'm not even going to bother? I'm sure they're trying to destroy the internet. That is a conspiracy theory I can live by, yeah. Let's see. All right, I think we're back to what we had. Let's double check with the original. I mean, it is more jagged, but that is expected. You think I want that crap on my PC? No, who wants that? Who wants that on their PC? What is that emoji, by the way? I love the fish and that goat. Yeah. Production incoming 1 minute. It's more than a minute, actually. I've noticed, I'm not sure if it's on which side or if it's on my side because I'm using StreamBots. But once this incoming ad is like this, what you want to call notification is gone, it will take out 53 to 55 seconds for the ads to actually start. So I don't know. So this, warning. It's kind of useless, to be honest. I'm actually going to try that out because I haven't done that in a while. I haven't checked the time it takes. I'm going to bet though it is about 53 seconds. And there you go. Nothing happened. So let's see. We can't until the ads actually kick off. 1 hour later, exactly. Let's see. So we've only looked at this part for now. I feel that is as optimized as I'm willing to take it for now, because I tried to limit or reduce this line, this loop ring, to 8 instead of 16. That looked terrible. But then again, it might go back to it because it's on the back side, right? So you can't really tell. All right, so I'm betting that we have 3 seconds until... No? Where's the ad? Sorry, just 1 second, Green. Still no ads. That rotation in the verts, they look like OCD worthy. It is probably might be worth having a look at it. Yeah. But we have ads, so I am actually going to grab a bit more water. I just ran out, so I'll be back in a minute 30 seconds. You only see the ad break text. Well, that's good for you because that is what I want you to see. If you don't get proper ads, this is what I want you to see. So just give me a second. I'll be right back. There we go. There we go. So yeah, I did mention that offset rings, like loop rings. So the thing is, I don't want to touch it right now. I might later, because I'm slightly worried that I will affect the UVs if I do. And I don't want to do that unless it's absolutely necessary. When you have an icon of a no mic, but there's a giant one. There's a giant one right there. Wait. You have an icon of a no mic. But this, oh, took me a while. Muted icon. Yeah, yes, I got it. That was kind of Inception, wasn't it? Like, oh, mic on mic action. There we go. All right, we have 3 seconds left. And there we go. So, ads have ended. But yeah, I mean, it's not really a hard thing to fix. So you know what? We're going to do it this way. Where is my ad? Wait, something's happened to my add-on. Where's my add-on? It's right there, but it's not active. Just let me do something. This kind of worries me. As always, if I miss, I'm used to certain key, pushing certain keys, and if I can't do that, it's I might make a mistake. Or are I? What is that? Blender? Hello? Why is blend so slow nowadays? Okay, so it's still not working the way I want it to. Why is that? Why is that? At the bottom of the mic has a nice angle. Yes, it does. I usually kind of don't worry too much about angles, to be honest. It's going to be triangulated in the end, and as long as it looks fine with the textures, I'm fine. And that might upset a few people, and I understand that. There we go. Now it's back. All right. I needed my pie chart add or my pie menu add-on. This one, I love this add-on. It's called Machine Tools. You have, instead of going up to file and everything, you have everything you need. Just clicking Control S and you can import, you can go to append, you can save, open new. Love it. But yeah, this one though, should we try and align? I think we could do it. I think we could do it quite easily. So what we're going to do, how would I do this best way? Let's add a new orientation. We're going to make a custom orientation called face now. Then we're going to, we do this in vertex mode or face mode. Let's do it in vertex mode. Select these. I've seen edges collapse on top of each other when they're relying on auto triangulate and angle, but yeah, I never make them, so I guess that's fine most of the time. So what I usually do angles is that, first of all, I do try test it out in Blender before I pass it on to or export it to Unreal. And I always add a triangulate modifier. And if it doesn't look good, then I make it into quads. But for example, and this is such a small thing, but if I'm going to make this into like all quads, that's an extra vert, right? Big deal? No, not at all. But I'm just like looking at the angle. It's cleaner, less clutter on my scene, on my screen. It's a personal thing. And in the end, if it looks good, this shape is fine, simple enough, exactly. And if it looks good in the end, who cares, right? I mean, if you're going to see it at some point, then I guess I could fix it. But as a player, no one's going to see it. So let's try. Let's do that. Can I do it this way? I can. That's better. The only thing I'm worried about right now is what does it look like this mode? Sexy. So this is what I'm slightly worried about. Now this is skewed. So we're going to have to look at that. That's normals. There we go. What happened? Where are you? I think it's this part down here. It looks like these has been slightly offset. I can't really tell with the base color. Let's see if the normal helps better. All bends down. I mean, I could probably just move these, even it out a bit, but I don't think it's worth my effort, to be honest. You know what? I'm just going to leave it. And if it's annoying, I'm going to fix it later on. Because this is, again, looking at these. Yes, you can kind of see the bend. I don't know. Is it worth 10 minutes it will take me to fix it? Nah. Definitely visible? You think it's too much? So here's the thing I mentioned before I started. You screw around with the copy. So this is a copy technically. You can do G2X. Yeah, sure. I definitely can. I'm going to try this. So the only thing that looks weird is this bevel, right? This bevel, that's the only thing that looks weird, isn't it? Everything else looks decent. I can't see really any other disformed sections. And I'm suspecting this one, if I can move this part in the UV edit, so I'd sync back. Which one is it? All right, so it is these. No, I didn't. It's the same edits. Do you think I should do that? And because otherwise I could probably just go manually and then do something like this. Right. I did make an increment save, so I don't have to worry too much about this. Well, I appreciate the input though. Because I don't have all the answers, so if you know anything that I'm also interested, right? I think this could be enough. Let's go back to modeling. I mean, it's better, isn't it? Maybe not perfect. I think it's good enough, though. Again, it comes down to so one thing the requirements I set for myself when I started this task is it should look good from roughly 2 meters away, assuming we're kind of looking at a third person perspective. It's better. Awesome. And also, you're never going to get super close. Let's keep it as close as possible. And I want to go from 3,000 triangles. Or this one says 5,000, but that is because I haven't this selected. So 3,000 triangles. I want to go down to roughly 1,500. That's my goal. And I've only touched the main body of the mic so far. Now I have a few other culprits lying around. We can look at, for example, right buttons. There we go. This thing right here. How many triangles are you? Oh, give or take 200. I can probably save quite a bit on those. Or this stand right here. That is probably the worst culprit. Or this one. Yeah. Yeah. Cylinders are hard to work with because they take up your budget really fast. It's going to kill it. You're fine with the stand? Oh, yeah. You mean this one? I'd say so, yeah. How many are there, by the way? It's 32. Yeah, going down to 16, which is what I would have done if I decided to lower it, would be, I think, overkill. I need the geo. Yeah. Might not need the geo on these, though. Like, if I can kind of remove this section, collapse that together, make it 16 rather than 32, I might get away with that. To say me, I have to do it twice. So that would say me 64 triangles or something along those lines. I could get away with that. I think the normals would do quite a lot for me. We're going to try that, see what happens. All depends on how far away the camera is. Exactly. Yep, exactly. And the idea is that you would probably be this distance. This is the distance we're looking at. Camera distance in game, of course. And I'm imagining right now, this is not meant for a game. This is just me, hey, this is what I would do if I was to optimize this asset. And this is the distance I'm thinking will be the closest we'll ever get. Yeah, I think I'm fine. So select these, do a collapse, and this will always destroy my UVs. I need to fix that. Come on. Go. Turn off sync, otherwise I'm gonna make a mess. Center. Kind of hard to look at the normal textures. I'm gonna do that. Easier on the eye. The green, it sounds like you have a decent amount of experience with 3D modeling. What do you do on your daily basis? Curious, or are you working with 3D? What do you do? We need to save this part. Where is that, by the way? I'm curious. Where is this? That is, okay, that's these. Okay. All right, perfect. I'm also curious if I could lower the number inside this thing. Let's see, what do we have? Yeah, I'm thinking we could probably get away with absolutely... What if I do this? And not the ring, though. I don't want the ring. I want this part. What if I do this? No? All right. There we go. I'm just really fast learner, I guess. Been diving into games the last 3 years now. Like every day doing something. Yeah. Oh, awesome. That's really cool. Any projects you're working on, or is it just whatever comes to mind? Oh, you merged it to the center. Could have done that, absolutely. So one of the reasons I personally don't do it is I don't like that pole thing. It's just how it looks like to me. I like the cleaner look of the Nengon. But I can always do that later on. And this part, I'm thinking I could probably do something like this. Or not. That trick didn't work this time. All right. Probably do that. Oh, no, wrong one. Lapse. That's the one I wanted. There we go. The UVs look horrendous. Awesome. What's up? There we go. Yeah, barely noticeable. We've gone from 2.7 to 2.6 something. So, I mean, we're not looking at horrendous, big changes. We're looking at small ones. Oh, here we go. When you do why don't you tick the box UVs? It's in the option menu that pops up. Oh, are you saying I missed something? If I try it on these, do a collapse versus options, I always forget that. Oh, is that protecting my UVs? If so, that would save me time. Okay, so it should be, so this one should be then protected. Let's see if we can do, see if we can try it out. I mean, there's so much thing I've always need to learn when it comes to Blender, so. Okay, so these should now do that, and this, UVs. Oh my god, you're a lifesaver. That's amazing. Here you go. Oh, that's perfect. Easy peasy. Yeah, exactly. That's probably saved me a minute or so, which might not sound like a lot, but that is amazing because if I do this, what? 50 more times. That's a full hour almost. They usually just say to me. Awesome. And let's see. Hello? Oh. What about the... yeah, that merge. I could kind of see some deformations, but it's not terrible. You can now eat cookies in meanwhile profit. Exactly. Priorities. That's what we do. We don't want to save time. We want to open time for cookies. That's what we do. Oh, wait. Oh, that is true. I might have to do that. So I'm trying to be careful because I'm using a normal texture from another mesh. So if I adjust this mesh's UVs or shaders too much, that might break the link between these two, but we could try it. So options, add modifier. Let's add, oh, that's not the one. That was a cool effect though, but it's not the one we're looking for. We want this one. And I don't want it to do that. And I'm suspecting it has to do with this thing. How about that? I'm not sure if I see much of an effect. I'm going to argue that it's actually worse. I'm going to be completely honest. You learned a lot, a lot of tricks recent years. There you go. Usually that is my experience with learning stuff, that you have periods. They can be days, weeks, years, months, but you have periods where you learn a lot, and then you have periods where things just kind of slow down. Yep. And we're going to fix this one. And since I've just learned a new trick, this will be easy. Ooh, or maybe not. Took a big hit on... ooh. Yeah, maybe not. That's unfortunate. I was kind of hoping to save a lot of UV verts by doing that. What now? Guess I should leave these rings, but what if I do it on the inside of these? What if I do it? Yeah, I can save a bit doing it on these sides. Let's go back to solid. Not really do any fancy tricks with these, so... oh, no. All right, we're on the UV seam. Oh, dang it. Why is the UV seam on that edge? That's unfortunate. So I want to combine this, this, and this. Now I can't really. All right. That makes things a bit more difficult. Do I have to accept that it's not going to work? Alternatively, what I could do is, what if I slide amazing seams? Yeah, it's not the best spot. Not the spot I would pick. I would have picked. I think, honestly, I would probably have picked along this line rather. I think that could have helped. But then again, they didn't do this asset for my sake, so... the model really wanted people to not be able to rework it. I would probably agree with you jokingly, but I'm thinking it's more like they just didn't see it happen. And also, I guess they should have put it at the bottom, right? Following this line. Yeah, in the end, that's probably what I would have done. Yep, yep. And then we have the offset again. Fun. How about we do this? I'm going to try something. Let's do a save, also an incremental save. Let's move this. This is probably going to look horrendous. But if it doesn't, I might be able to save a bit. So let's go to you know what? If I really look closely, yes, I can see something, but I think we could get away with that. Maybe even. I'm going to see if this works too. Where's the seam again? It's down here. No, that's not going to work. God dang it. How about we try this? We're going to move this using the slider option. No, we're not going to do that. What if I do this? What effect did that have? That is terrible. Can I save it though? That's the question. Probably could. Probably could. What if we do it this way? What if? Should be able to snap, shouldn't I? There we go. I'm using the original as a reference. See if I can't do it this way. If I can, that would be great. There's still a big. What if? Could it be these? No. All right, that makes sense. That is a big seam, isn't it? Might, if I move this around a bit. No. Then again, from a distance, that's always what we should look at. From a distance, I think we're fine. I think we need to accept that this is a kind of one of the instances where we can't really get away from bad, like a seam. I think we have to accept that. So let's see if we can't save this part too. As long as we can get our seam to look decent, we should be fine. And what we did is we move these along. And this part, we evened this part out. Oh, something happened with my voice. It's kind of hard to tell, is it? Yeah, I think we're fine. And with that, we should, if I'm not mistaken, be able to just fix the rest. Now that I think about it, probably should have not moved that part. All right, so let's do it this way. We're going to open a... There we go. What we're going to do is this one, that one. We're going to combine these differently. This way. Then we're going to do the same for these. Right. In material, it's going to look horrendous. Awesome. And I'm betting I missed that option again. I did. All right. Great. Let's do it this way. Anything on this side? There is. Ooh, that's a question. How should we combine those? Like, I can't do that. I need to turn off sync. Let's see. If I move this part, I'm going to affect this upper corner right there. We'll need to check which direction do I need to go in. None of these, it seems. Something, nope. I'll do that because then that part will open up. And I'm guessing this part, no. It's on the other side. All right, there we go. I'm trying to fix this section and then that. So I'm assuming this needs to be moved to the side. Same with this. We're just trying to hide as much as possible. But it might be impossible to completely hide the seam. Yeah, we're definitely going to see something. But then again, from a distance, as always, look from a distance. And I think we're going to get away with that. Now, what we can do is just keep going on. We can just fix the rest, and they will fix themselves because they are not seams. Let's make sure that UVs were selected. That was an amazing tip. So thank you, Green, for that. Let's do repeat. I think this will be an acceptable, what do you call it? Compromise. That's the one I'm looking for. All right, and in order to confirm that, let's not add wireframe. Let's go to this and add back the original. Even on the original, you can kind of see a seam. So I think we're really fine. Oh, you're finding some hair. Oh, you've picked the worst thing. Are you doing like planes or are you working with particles? So that's the option, right? You can work with hairs, like individual strands or planes. They are the usual culprits or methods, isn't it? Another question is, what can we do with top, though? Yeah, all right. It is an art, honestly, to figure out how to do your hair properly. You got a lot more options than that. All right, that's fair. Those are the options I'm aware of. I should clarify, but I'm sure there's a lot more options. I'd love to one day go back to Houdini and try their hair system, or at least I want to do it for feathers. I've seen that a few times. People worked with their hair system to create some amazing feather effects. Yeah, realistic hair strands. Yeah, exactly. It looks amazing once you know what you're doing. It can looks absolutely breathtaking. Well, I'm also assuming it's a very niched and specific way of doing things. Imagine more Pokemon style hair from me at the moment. Anime hair, I guess, almost also horrible. Oh, you're individually just extruding hair planes and just trying to make it look like a hairstyle. Yeah, it's like a lot of fun. No planes. Oh, okay. I misunderstood. Okay. Like the mic. Oh, all right. Well, sounds like a blast. Its own model, full volume. Oh, but then would you be manually dragging or are you sculpting? It's the Disney hair. Okay, that makes sense. Now we're back to this offset thing again. I don't like it. Let's see if we can. Can I now? Can't. Can I do it this way? No. Need to press the right buttons. Oh, I can. Thank God. That technique has saved me a lot of time. I learned it the other day. Yeah, it's just like what you're doing at the moment. You make planes and sculpt slash model. Yeah, right. I'm personally, I think I would prefer that approach just from a standpoint of it's more fun, perhaps. And then make the endpoints. Oh, there you go. It's very volume modeled meshes. I'm thinking, like you mentioned Disney. I'm also thinking, I want to say Borderlands, but Borderlands, are they doing planes? No, I'm pretty sure Borderlands does that volume, thick volume hairstyle, right? Fortnite, same Disney, yeah. Okay. It's a good look, though. Is it this single one that's off, or is it the entire top part? Like the entire top part, doesn't it? Honestly, let's fix that. So let's remove the old orientation and add a new one. Do 1, 2. Rotate. Hold down Shift to make it easier for us. And that's unfortunate. That's actually UV line. Ooh. I'm gonna say this line, although you can still see it affects the profile from a distance. That's gonna be less noticeable. I would love to remove this entire thing, but it is a UV seam, so we're not going to touch it. Okay, so we've saved roughly 700. We need to save a lot more. What is the look? So are there any deformations? None that I can see. And again, distance, important. So I wonder, can we remove a bit more from the top of this thing? Perhaps not. I think we need this, but what about this though? Can I do this? I think I can. All right. We have ads in roughly 1 minute. I need to remember to add that extra buffer on my messages, because right now it's kind of annoying having to say the same thing over and over again. But looking at it, we're going to take a break soon. My thoughts are that we might be done with the body itself. Let's have a look at these things. And I think the easiest one to start with would be these two. Is there really a need for that thing? No, they've used a bit more geometry than needed. But it's not really a big deal, but it is something. So we're going to lower the topology on these next, once the ads has started and ended. There we go. While we're waiting, I'm just going to answer a few messages. All right. Still waiting a bit. Let's see. So 1 minute left. I might need to figure out something to do between these ad breaks. It's kind of, I'm very aware that I'm sitting here just by myself, lonely. I don't know. You can see me, so just continue. Oh, well, I appreciate that, Green, keeping me informed. I'm not sure if we're the only one, so I'm just going to leave it be just another 15 seconds. But for the next break, we could do, let's say we could play a game called, what's it called? Game something. Seen a few other streamers play it, and it's kind of fun. I haven't played it in a while. Game middle was really handful to say, but it's fun. We can guess what game we are, the game of the day type of thing. So we're going to guess clues, and we're going to have to kind of guess our way through that. Kind of fun. All right, but ads are done. And now we need to figure out what to do with this thing. So my first thought is to find all the flat surfaces. And one flat surface would be, you know what? I think we could kind of remove this entire thing. It might skew the object ever so slightly, but we can save a decent amount of vertices doing that. What if we do it that way? We are receiving some slight deformation, but again, we kind of have to accept that, those parts. Then we can also check this one. We don't need that. We can combine these two. And here's a trick. In Blender, if you hold down Control and Alt, and select one edge, you will select, I'm not sure what to call them, but it will go across your mesh like this. Select all those edges, which helps a ton. And then we can do a collapse, make sure the UV's option is set. And then on the inside, that's where we have our UV seam, which is a decent place to have it, I guess. So what we could do, I'm not sure we can actually do anything about that. Trying to figure out what to do. So let's fix the other side while do that in a bit. So let's remove these parts. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Press the wrong button. Let's remove these. That's, oh yeah, and if you want to select more than just these segments, hold down Control Shift Alt. It will do the same thing, but keep the previous selection. Collapse that. We don't need this part. I'm tempted to kind of combine this entire row. Because what you have to think about, what does my texture normals look like? And likely there's already a soft edge going around this flow. By combining these, you can save another, I don't know, 8, 16 points. I think we can try it. Let me save first. You never know. Okay, so it already exists. That sucks. Save as then. Do that. I'm going to select these. I'm going to collapse them. And hopefully, if we go to this part, and there you go. So the normals are doing a lot of the work. Just to confirm, again, we can check with the original. So the original seems to have a bit more proper surface on the side, which we could potentially fix. I'm not sure this is going to fix it, though. I don't think it is. No, that's not going to fix it. In fact, it's making it even worse. Let's see what our UVs are telling us. Each side, though. On that side, okay. Let's zoom in and let's add our normal textures. And let's see what are we looking at. It's kind of hard to tell. We might want to move some of these points inwards. Then again, we're going to have to think, what is the distance we're looking at this from again? Not perfect though. So what if off sync? What if we move this ever so slightly down? This one ever so slightly up. That help? I think that is fine. It was never meant to be perfect in any way, so I think we could get away with this. So that means we're going to have to do the same for this one. Actually, that is a decent difference, isn't it? All right. I'm changing my mind. Let's keep this line. Oh, those edges. However, here's another thing we can do. This plane right there, and I'm guessing it goes all the way over. It's never shown, so goodbye. Not a lot, but it's something. And we're going to do the same for these. Be gone. Could probably do a lot the same for these things. All right, we could actually kind of remove this part. Move this edge ever so slightly upwards. I thought. Come on. Why is it moving? That's weird. Let's just do it this way then. I mean, we're looking at it from a millimeter of perspective right now, and you're not going to see that part, so I'm not going to worry about it. Would love to see the inside of these a bit better, though. Are those on the inside? They are. So we can move these like so, which allows us to, I believe, remove these. Yes. That might be what I can do, to be honest, with the on the inside of these things, because I have the UVC on that side, which is unfortunate. Good. It's only going to save me like one vert. I could do that. That is going to affect the final outcome, or the final look. You're going to see that weird thing. But this part will be in the way, so you're not going to see a weird deformation. So I think we're fine. Potentially what we could do is save it ever slightly. Which part is it? It's that part. And what we could do. You got a fix for your hair thing? That's great. That was fun when things just come together. Time to eat a cookie. Just one? Seriously, I can't for the life of me just be satisfied with one cookie. Never happened. What we're gonna do, by the way, we're gonna move these down. Or not. Maybe move these forward. Sure, what's the best approach? You have some absolute bangers of emojis going on. Not a true born nammer. There you go. What if we do this? What is that? Are you throwing the entire like library emotes on me right now? That is insane. So this part, probably do too. Yeah. You got over 180 emotes. That's insane. Yeah, that would take you quite some time, wouldn't it? You know what? I think we're looking at something that is not worth my time to dig into that deeply. So we're going to fix this other thing. We're going to fix this one. This one's going to be a lot more fun. And we're going to remove this part and these. Delete it like that. And we're not going to need all of these. We're going to do this. Chances are I can grab these and do it this way. All right, now I see a problem. Can I just do that? I can't. Might have dug my own way there. What this? Nope, not do that. Again, let's check from the inside. This one, that one, that one. Not going to be needed. Neither are you. And these. What if we just do that? How would that look from the outside? All right, bring back the original. And I can see there's something going on there, but again, from distance, I think we're fine. So what are we down to? 2.2. We're like 700 away. But we have fixed most of these already, so I'm starting to worry that we don't have another 500-600 to grab. Because this is as far as it goes. I don't think we can limit this much more than this. Potentially could, but it will be more noticeable. All right, so let's have a look at this. This one is a big thief of triangles, though. How many triangles? Why isn't it telling me triangles? It is telling me verts, though, 168. So let's assume that would be half as many triangles. Is that like 80 then? No, it's probably more than double. The number of faces is 360. That makes sense. Don't think it does. So what can we do with these? We can remove this one and this one. Again, I mentioned this earlier. These look like just a delete type of loop, but they might be there to support the details on the inside. All of these black plastic details might start to deform unless these edges are there. We can just try it out. And yes, something happened. I wouldn't say it deformed anything, so we're fine. We do have this one in it. Are you dug into the ground or into this thing? Yes, you are. So we're going to actually completely remove that part, I think. Which is something you're not going to notice. Oh, awesome. So what else can we do? These are not an issue really, but I like to clean it up while I'm working on it. So let's do that. So looking at this, we probably reached a point where we'd have to start affecting the profile of the cylinder. Let's make a save and also do an incremental. We can change our mind if we need to. And here's a good tip. So just as before, okay, why didn't that work? Okay, so select two edges, skip one, Control Shift plus. We go all the way around. This assumes that the mesh we're looking at is even in numbers, right? What you can do then, once you have every other selected edge, go to select, go to loop, edge loops. That will select all the loops all the way down, and then we can delete those. And that got us another 200. Perfect. So we're 400 away now. And where are the culprits? This is fine. Let's have a look. The solid. All right, I forgot about the buttons. What do you want to call it? Bolts. These are way too detailed. And also this raised part, although you can see it from the side, I don't think they are that important. So my hope is that I'll be able to completely remove these. It was kind of hard to tell what I'm doing. So let's move that. So, and then we can go to select mode. Now we have that selected. Control and plus will kind of move the select outwards. Can I not delete those? What if we do this? We're also going to snap this part out, then delete this part. Hopefully, when we go back to Imperial, so this is what it looks like after that deletion. I think this looks great, and this is what it looked like before. The only difference is that you can now see the profile a lot better, but we saved a ton. So let's see what we saved. This one is 48 now. This one was 96, so we halved the number. That's a good number. Which means we save another 100 vertices on the final mesh. So let's do this again on this side. Nope, not like that. Like that. Pressing all the buttons right now. There we go. Select this part. Move it out. Select this part. Delete it. And again, do another check with the original. Where are you? This part. So I challenge you to see the difference between this button and this button. You can see it from this part, barely. It's really small. And this is closer than we actually wanted it to be. So I think we're doing great. What are we down to? We are down to 1700. That's a good number. But I think we can go even further because we have the underside. This comes down to, all right, so this is a mic stand. What are the chances that you will be flipping this thing? Can I see again? Sure. Can even do this, I think. Oh, not that. Went too fast, my bad. Did I do a normal mod? You can see the lines on the left side. What lines on the stand? If I did redo the normals. Oh, you're referring to this slight shading issue on this one? No, I kind of just, after merge, you change the edge, so better to redo the normals on the verts. No, yeah, there is a difference. There is actually, now you say that. Not sure. Okay, you want to try weighted normal? The thing is, everything is combined right now. Can I have it? This is not something I haven't tried before. Can I do a vertex group and use that on a weighted modifier? Can I do that? Honestly, never tried it. Otherwise, I have another thing we could try. Can, okay. We got text adding circular things through the text, but the words also have weights. This did improve it a lot. I assume if that was the only thing you noticed, because I can't really tell the difference between the bottom ones. The standing cylinder, this part, yeah, that is actually really good. Well spotted. I want to try something else. And we're going to keep this, but there's something I want to try. There's another technique I think now left looks better. This one? Well, I hope so. That's the original. I mean, we're never going to have it look better than the original. Oh, that's right. Yeah. An easy mistake to do. I mean, the one we changed, it does look quite a lot better. It does. I want to try something. There is another way that I think could work, but it relies heavily on the fact that we have. I meant true left. Ah, you meant the other left. That's what you're talking about. Fair point. So, with this technique, we could. At the moment you face forward, left, and right. Ah, okay. Yeah, it makes sense. So what we could do. My big brain. Awesome. If we have bevels like we do have right now, we have a bevel at the top and at the bottom, right there. We can select this middle part without selecting bevels, then go Alt-N and try set from face. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I've seen this being used before, and it's really useful. There you go. It gives roughly the same result, right? I think that's pretty good. So I turned off the modifier. The modifier is turned off now. This is without the modifier. Yeah, but there is a difference, although it's very slight. So if I turn on the modifier, you can see at the top, this is with the modifier. This is without. I'm wondering, because I'm seeing this sharp edge. Oh, okay, so it makes sense. Okay, if I turn that off. Okay, fair enough. You did the same as the mod did. Sword, yeah. Also better pick, chop off. Yeah, just did it. I just noticed. Or I actually turned it on now. That was actually the fix to turn it on. Not sure. Where is my sharp edges, by the way? Are they hidden underneath my UV seams? Where are the UV seams? Where are they? Oh, somewhere. There we go. Oh, there we go. So my hard edges. You have hard edge. Perhaps I should remove that. Seams in sharp. Yeah, combined. Yeah. So this is so there's no difference between these right now. But I'm thinking perhaps I should keep the weighting modifier either way. Press 2, select edge, right click, and clear edge. You mean want to clear the sharp edge? I mean, the fastest way I know to do that is Control E, then clear sharp. And I'm assuming I need to, but then again, now it's not working. So it actually looks better with the sharp edge. Maybe not. What's going on? I think this is good. This is good. But it's good, some good inputs because I never thought of it. Especially the weight and dominance part is something I didn't think of. So I'm going to keep it. But I have to be aware of it. Otherwise, things will go very wrong. Or should I say, I could go wrong. Are there any other places I should do something similar to then? This will be a problem because I don't have a bevel in this area. Could. No, because I have a hard edge right there. This one potentially I could do the same trick too. So now I'm trying to find where there's still some place we can save on. Well, these buttons could actually, honestly, be reduced a bit more. Why isn't it working? decides to work every now and then. That's kind of annoying. We can. So it's even. That's good. Might be that I'm too quick to do the button pressing. What's that? 1698. It would be great if we can remove another 190. All of the obvious points are now lowered. So the only person can kind of tell, like, where we can obviously find some extra geometry is at the head of the mic up here. Let's see. So this is, that's 300. Can we really remove 190? I think that's hard and probably impossible. We do have the stand. But then again, that's 180. Maybe this is the limit without actually creating deformations and obvious differences between the original. You know what? I think perhaps we should try that weight and normal thing we did on this part. Let's add that to the group. Oh, we did. We assigned more than we should. Yep, I think that was the correct decision. So is there really nothing left? Turn off this. You know what? This one should be, I think. Yeah. We could try, see if we can save maybe 30 or 16. But then again, that is the UV seam. I'd like to keep away the seams if possible. Could try and combine these things, perhaps. Well, I do worry that it will be noticeably a big difference between the shading and everything. But let's give it a try. So we're going to make an save and then incremental save, so just in case. I'm going to go around selecting all of these. I might have an issue with the UV seam again. But it's nothing we can't fix. The first impression, nothing really happened. I think we're fine. Let's double check the seam though. I did miss one, so let's make sure we get that. There is, seems to be some ever so slight texture seam, but again, not really tell whether or not it's good. By the way, as you see the inner part of the mic are sharp, it'll make a nice flat shade instead of the below. You can fix that by making all inner parts sharp. It'll make this flat. Oh, right. So you're thinking that I should add sharp edge or sharp thing to these. I read two messages as one. You sure? All right, let's try that again then. But as you see, the inner parts of my now gets this glowy color in green in gray view. Oh, yeah. Okay, I get it. You can fix it by making, okay. So what you're talking about is this part. I should add a sharp thing on the inside of these. That's what we're talking about, right? like so. The thing is, and I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure this will affect the final outcome. I was pretty sure it would, because I've seen it happen before when I've done this workflow. But based on that, we could try. That's why you want to keep them sharp. Yeah, it's true. To your point, I've seen it being affecting these types of work before. That's why I didn't do it, but it makes sense. Let's see what it looks like compared to the original, just in case. Yeah, no, we're definitely going for it. Perfect. Thank you. So what's the fastest way to do this? Let's do select sharp. Let's do more than 60 degrees. And then we're going to go into solid. We're going to go to X-ray mode. Unless I wanted to round it. That's true. I don't think I want to, because it is a angular shape. So you are completely right. And I'm going to deselect. I can't really see what they've made. It could be rounded. I mean, I think the inside is definitely a cylinder, right? Pretty much like my own mic. But that difference between this metallic part and the main mic webbing is most likely sharp, right? So we're gonna fix that. So we're gonna make all of these. No, not so. Can I not deselect this part? I can. We're also gonna let's see what happens if I do the corners too. Can always deselect them later. So what happens? You want round? I can't see. Yeah, but if the metal is rounded off or sharp, I guess to guide the sound in the way you want it rounded. I think we could just try it out in the end. All good points, but I think that you just try it out, see what it looks like, is probably the best option. Now that I look at it, I might not want the sharpness on these, though. Let's see what it looks like without. So what I'm worried about is how the texture normals will be affected by this. And you can kind of see it in this part. So this is fine, but this feels almost like it's digging into itself, like it's convex or something, or concave. Sharp makes it pop nice. Yeah, it does. Let's see what happens if I do this. So this side, right. So what we're going to do, I'm going to keep the sharpness on the inside, but at the top, I feel like this part is now more convex, like it's shaped like this. Before, it feels almost like it's inverting itself if you compare these two sides. Only keep in, yeah. You can also see the difference, right? You see this area right here and compared to this part. So let's do that. Can I do it this way? I can't. Okay. Subtle. It is subtle, but it is enough. It's enough for me. But definitely an improvement overall. So good, good points. Another question is, though, we did lower the amount of polygons here. Should we do the same? GG, thank you. Should we do the same for the rest, though? So we might not want to do it on the top because that is more obvious when it comes to profiling. I missed one top edge. Oh, I did. Two, actually. There you go. Did I miss anything else? There you go. Easy fix, yeah. So here's the question, though. I could select these and decimate those. Those I could probably do, or collapse them. Right? That wouldn't affect the overall look that much. Apart from perhaps from this angle. But then I already have this. No, I think we can do it. I think we can do, ooh, maybe not. No, I think we're fine. It follows the rest of the topology pretty well. You got the texture making it round. If you go too square, it would look good. You think so? Yeah. And also, it's all about decimation, right? We want to make it a lower level or a reduced triangle count. So it's all about picking the right compromises. And we got some ads over on Twitch. So let's, while we wait, we're going to play a game. And this game is really fun, especially if you love games. And I do love games. We're going to do something. We're going to get... They've changed the name. No. I don't think I want to do that. I'm sure it's for charity. So this is a game where you can do multiple mini games. You can guess the cover art of a game. You can guess the artwork for a game, a character, keywords from a game. It's all game based. And you can also go for this one, which is the hard one. And that is to guess the name of a game, not the art and everything like that. But apparently, because it's breast cancer awareness time during the year, they also have Guess the Breast. And I'm going to stay away from that. It feels like I'm going to break some TOS if I even try. We're going to go guess the game. And we're just going to add a game. Whatever we want. We could be correct from the very start, but we're just going to try Super Mario 64. All right, so just get started. Now we get some clues. Yeah, so I'm not going to even try. But we have some clues now. We can either... okay. So it's not 64 Wii U, fair enough. It's not platformer. The game is not fantasy. It's not from 96. Good. It could potentially be single player, but it could also be a combination of multiple. So it's not Mario Engine, but it is Nintendo, and it is third person. It's not Mario franchise. We have some clues. That now ads are done, but we are going to guess this. I'm going to continue. Third-person Nintendo game. What could that be? What could be a third-person Nintendo game? Donkey Kong Bonanza? Isn't that the latest one? I think Pokemon. But then it has to be the later ones, right? Because I think the other ones, like the old Pokemon, will be considered top-down. It could be Pokemon. I'm going to try Donkey Kong first, but if that doesn't work, we're going to try Pokemon. Okay, so we got a new... It's not side view. Fair enough. So let's try Pokemon then. So which one, though? What's the name of the new ones? Pokemon... I can't remember all these names. Wow, there's so many games. Okay, so it's not these. You want to go with white or pearl? Aren't they top down? But we could try white, absolutely. Okay, so two things. Pokemon is not the right franchise. Neither is Donkey Kong. So all of these franchises are now out. They're not. It's not the what we want to go for. We also have a few more clues. So it's between 11 and 24. In-house, Nintendo is publisher and developer, and it's third person. Oh, here's also something. It could be sci-fi, or it could be for kids. Wow, that's not a lot to go on. A third-person Nintendo in-house game. Wow. Kids, potentially. Or sci-fi. Yeah, Adbark is over. Yeah, exactly. I want to finish this. How about Metroid something? I don't remember the order of this, but I'm going to try and see if we can figure out which franchise we're talking about. So it's the wrong franchise, but we now know it's sci-fi or action and sci-fi. But it doesn't help me. The sci-fi Nintendo published third person. Wow. As usual, I'm really stuck. I'm not good at this, but I like playing it. Can't think of anything. It could be a quite obscure game. That's the thing. Just to get that free clue, how about we try something? Pokemon. Let's see if an not something, right? Arceus. That's probably one of the later ones. Let's try that. Okay, so we got another clue, which is it is on the Switch. That's good to know. Let's sacrifice a life to get a clue. And it's from 2023. Nothing comes to mind. Nothing comes to mind. Sci-fi game, 2023, action on the Switch, in-house, Nintendo, third person. This is probably a game I'm not familiar with. And we didn't nail the franchise. That's annoying. We haven't even nailed the genres. Nah, nothing comes to mind. Barbie and the Wild Shopping Nights? I mean, is that even a game? We have Barbie Fashion Designer. We want to go for that? Maybe Riding Camp. Let's go with Riding Camp. I think that could be. Sounds like something Nintendo would do. Go for it. I'm pretty sure this is not going to be useful for us, but who knows? There you go. And also, Barbie isn't much of a sci-fi game, is it? But honestly, Witcher is not sci-fi, and it's not on the Switch, is it? The only sci-fi game that comes to mind is like Mass Effect, but that is definitely not on the Switch. I'm just going to do it for Andromeda, see if we can get something. So it's right theme. but nothing else. It could be multiple. Oh, you know what it could be? Could it be? What's the name of the studio Hazelight? They created. No, they are from 2025, aren't they? Split something. I think this is from. You want to go for Minecraft? I would have gone for Minecraft if it wasn't for sci-fi. If it wasn't for that, we could have tried. Yeah, I was pretty sure that would be wrong. And it's also platformer. Oh, that makes sense. All right, you know what? Let's just go for it. Let's just go for it. The zombies are sci-fi. You would have to talk really fast if you want to convince people of that, I think. Let's see, what was it? F-099. I had no idea. I mean, I know about F-Zero, but I didn't know they released a retro pack like 2 years ago. I didn't know that. But there you are. Oh, well. Oh, well. Let's see if we can save more space. I'm going to do a thing. I'm going to go all in on this part. I'm going to make this part a lot thinner. Or I'm just going to do this. It might be a mistake. Or the best thing ever. I mean, you can see it. You can definitely see the sharp edge. But then again, we're going back, taking a step back, and we're going to look at it from this distance. It's really hard to tell now. So with that, I feel confident in doing it all the other places we haven't really done it yet, which would mean this part. Why is it? Oh, because I'm outside of the viewport. There we go. Yeah, so if you ever notice that a command, like a hotkey, doesn't work for you, it's likely due to the mouse cursor being outside of the viewports. So let's see. Let's pick these. There we go. Let's collapse those. I think with that, we have reached the half mark, or what do you want to call it? We're halfway. No, we're not halfway. We have halved the number of triangles. And I think we pretty much kept the integrity of the mesh pretty well. Are there any things we could probably add more sharp edges to or something? No. I think we're doing really well with this. All right. Perhaps that could be an issue. Which is I kind of... Can I clear that? What if I do that? Right, we have the underside. You know what we could do? This is also something really important. I don't think the underside will be shown for anyone. So what we could, really honestly, if we wanted to, we could remove this entire thing. Do something like, well, not like that, but... Oh, come on. But only do this if you're more or less sure that the underside will not be shown to your player. With this, we removed another 100 triangles. So, perfect. And we could take this even further. Now that I look at this part, should we try that technique where we... I think we should, and also probably do it on the inside. There we go. So from this, like where we are right now, we could move on to even lowering this even further because we need a LOD. I do feel like we've reached a point where we really don't have to do much about materials. I think the UVs, we mentioned those earlier, I think they are fine. And also the number of UV sets will be the same, which is expected by Unreal by now. So I wouldn't use the light map personally. I rarely do. I usually go with dynamic lighting by now, but then again, if it's affecting your performance of the game, then you should probably look into using light maps and bake your lighting. It feels like it's used less and less nowadays. I forgot to add, there we go. That's something to fix. Did I really miss the UV setting? I probably did. That's annoying. So I'm going to have to go through and fix this part. Will take another minute or so. Let's see. I might be able to use the distance on this, but then again, it might also affect these rather than combining the correct ones, which I don't really want. This is why I need to use this cumbersome selecting one thing at a time type of thing. There we go. And double check. Everything is fine. So as expected, it's not as nice as the original, but that's not the point. We wanted to get close, not create a replica. Let's try one more thing before. What if we add all of these to weight to normal mode? I want that. Can you stop that? Thank you. See if that can add another layer of refinement to the mesh. No. That looks fine. It didn't make it worse, so we're going to keep that. Right, so from here, what I would do at this stage is port this to Unreal and try it out. So what we could do, and what we probably should do, to be honest, is to add a triangulate modifier, which would make the entire thing. Wait, what did I add it to? Why isn't it showing? It just disappeared on me. There we go. And keep normals. I'm likely going to have to do that. Yeah, So the keep normals needs to be on. That is what the weighted normals will do. Unless you might be able to get away with it if you swap places. Yes, if you swap places, you'll be fine, but I'd like to have the triangulate modifier at the bottom. Let's do that. Just not check. Can't see anything that stands out telling me something's wrong. So we seems to be fine. Was there something? No, we're fine. Let's do a save. And make sure we have a proper name. And since this is going to be my personal custom one, I'm just going to call it SM Desk Microphone 02, which is I removed a few letters. Nothing too serious. The pivot point is correct. Personally, don't like the way it's tilting because it feels like it's going to tip over, but then again, it might be just the way it's meant to be. This be no, let's see what it looks like. No, we're fine. Last save. 1 second. All right, let's just pass it on to Unreal. Let's do a FPEG export. I'm going to add it to let's just create a new folder. Call it mesh. Yes, meshes. Meshes. Come on. We're going to add it to this. Copy the name from the outliner. Sure it's called named correctly. Then we're going to have to go through the preset. I have a preset, but we can do that from the beginning. Don't have to touch the top ones. Include should be selected objects. We don't need anything other than the mesh. We could have empty selected, and we might have to do that in another lesson, or another stream, where I'm going to show how to create LODs. That's the plan at least. And we're going to have custom properties, but that's for another time. We could make X as forward. We can make Z as up. And you and your emoji screen. Eating more cookies? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Make me jealous. Let's see. Let's have these. We could probably have checked. In this case, I would not select the triangular faces because we already had a triangulation modifier on. But we could just, for the sake of it, have it checked. We're going to have to do a face. I believe that is the default for Unreal export. Don't worry about the sRGB armature on the other hand. We can turn off add leaf and animation off completely because we're not sending any animated information. Green cocoa, always. I would love some good cookies right now. I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten dinner yet. And I think that is it. So we're going to just do an export. And the reason I'm kind of unsure if it is correct is because I'm using an add-on. And I haven't changed the settings of this add-on for probably a year. So I'm a bit unsure. But I believe we did the right settings. So let's go into Unreal. Go to the folder. I'm not going to put in the same folder. Let's do a new mesh folder. The meshes folder. Let's turn off all the filters. Do an import. I'm going to find my folder on the left monitor, which is this one. Do this. And we're going to get this window. And it might be different depending on the version you're using. I'm using 5.4 for these assets. But they made a heavy rework of this window for, I believe, 5.6. But if you go for the basic settings, you should be fine. You might want to turn off build nanites unless you want to use nanites. I'm not going to use nanites. I'm not going to generate a collider either. We're going to make our own at some point. Other than that, I don't want to create new material, so we don't want to import textures. Advanced, I don't think we need to do anything advanced. We don't have to do anything advanced on miscellaneous. Nothing on mesh, I believe. Yes, we do. We're going to have to turn off generate light maps because we already have light maps on this asset. We're going to turn that off. Import mesh loads, we're going to ignore that for now. Compute weighted normals. I'm going to turn that off because we don't want to recompute normals. We want to use the ones we made in Blender. Let's see what this looks like. So we're going to import. We're going to do select. We can double click, or we can do a Control E, which should open the mesh editor for us. And this one seems to have. Oh, sorry. Oh, I had the wrong. No, okay, so it didn't do what I wanted it to do, but now we're great. So double click, you have now the mesh in your opened in the mesh editor. And we're going to go to, I'm going to select, so this one is another asset we want to, a plan on looking at, but we want to use the same material because it had the same material as our other mic. So we're going to select this folder icon, which should send us to the folder with the material instance. Make sure it's selected. Go back to your static mesh editor, click this little arrow, which should assign material. And this is what it looks like in Unreal. And this one is roughly 1,600 triangles, has 1,600 less, I should say, than the original. And I personally think it looks good. So let's do this. Where is it? It's in meshes. Let's move it into the scene next to the other one. So here we have original and our updated version. Oh, let's slow down. And I think this is a good start. And she's past 10. Which means I am going to end it here, but I think this is a good point to end. The next time we revisit this, I want to look at LODs and probably do both auto-generated in Unreal, because that's an option. And we also want to look at how to do it in Blender. It's pretty much the same as we've done now, but it's more of being more aggressive when it comes to the reducing and removing various edges. And I want to try something which I haven't done before, and that is for the absolute last LOD. I really want to try and just use the bare minimum of a primitive as possible. Good stuff. Well, thank you, Green. And absolutely amazing advice and feedback. Really good. So I'm grateful for your contribution to this. And it's a nice side-scrolling shot. Let's make sure it's all in the vertical scene. All right. I think that's it. And depending on if there's someone online, we might want to pass people over to a few other streamers. Let's see if we can find someone. Well, thank you also, Greenco, for the follow. Really appreciate that. Then that means we're just one step away from 50 followers, and that will be amazing. I will be really happy if that happened. So thank you. I think we should do a raid on a guy named Boolean. Love that name, by the way. He's doing some fun 2D art stuff. Let's see if we can give him some extra views. Let's see if I can spell his name. I think that is correct. Yes, that is correct. So everyone on YouTube, on Twitch, thank you so very much. And if you haven't yet, please consider giving this video, this stream, a like on YouTube, and also maybe even subscribe. That would mean a lot. And of course, following Twitch would also mean the world. And other than that, thank you for showing up. I hope to see you again on Tuesday when I'm going to stream the continuation of this project. All right? So everyone, be nice to Boolean. He's a good guy. And I hope to see you all another day. Bye-bye.